Winter, in most places on Earth, is a season, a passing chapter, a cold interruption between the warmth of autumn and the promise of spring. But in the vast interior of Russia, winter is something entirely different. Here, it is a force. Across the endless expanse of Siberia, temperatures drop far beyond the limits of ordinary cold. Thermometers fall below -50 degrees Celsius. Metal becomes rigid, fuel thickens. Even the air itself seems to harden, as if the atmosphere had turned to glass. Breath escapes from the lungs in pale clouds that crystallize instantly, vanishing into the frozen darkness. For months, the sun remains low on the horizon, casting long blue shadows across a land trapped in ice. Storm systems descend from the Arctic, unleashing blizzards that erase the boundaries between sky and earth. Snow falls sideways under the pressure of relentless winds, burying forests and plains beneath an ever-deepening white silence. From above, Siberia appears endless. Aerial views reveal oceans of snow stretching for thousands of kilometers, undulating tundra plains, frozen rivers, and forests of larch and pine that remain motionless under thick layers of frost. These trees, some of them centuries old, endure temperatures capable of fracturing rock. Their branches creak softly in the cold, each needle covered in delicate crystals that shine like glass beneath the pale winter sun. Yet beauty here is inseparable from brutality. The wind sculpts the snow into enormous dunes that slowly crawl across the landscape, reshaping the terrain with every storm. In the tundra, nothing rises high enough to break the gale. The cold spreads unopposed across the plains, gaining strength as it advances. In these open lands, a single blizzard can swallow the horizon in minutes. Sound itself seems to fade. The usual rhythms of life, the rustle of leaves, the buzz of insects, the songs of summer birds, have disappeared. What remains is a deep and unsettling stillness. A silence so complete that it feels as though the entire world has paused, suspended in a frozen breath. And yet, this land is not empty. Beneath the snow, within the forests, and across the wind-swept tundra, life continues against unimaginable odds. Creatures move through the cold with silent determination, each shaped by generations of evolution to endure what would destroy most forms of life. For them, this brutal season is not an anomaly. It is their home. And in this immense and frozen wilderness, survival demands strength, patience, and an extraordinary resilience found nowhere else on Earth. Welcome to Russia's frozen wilderness. At first glance, Russia's winter wilderness appears lifeless. Forests remain frozen, rivers sleep beneath thick armor of ice, snow stretches across the land in uninterrupted silence, covering every trace of movement. But the stillness is an illusion. Beneath this frozen surface, a relentless struggle for survival unfolds every hour of every day. Winter does not erase life here, it sharpens it. Every creature that remains must battle the cold, hunger, and the long, unyielding darkness. Across the snow-covered plains, the deep tracks of massive hooves reveal the silent passage of giants. Moose move slowly through the forests, their towering bodies pushing through mounds of snow that rise above their knees. These enormous herbivores spend the winter searching for what little food remains: twigs, bark, and frozen vegetation hidden beneath the snow. For them, survival is a matter of endurance. Every step consumes precious energy, and every calorie matters. But they are not alone. Somewhere in the silent forest, yellow eyes are watching. A pack of grey wolves moves like shadows among the trees, their thick winter coats protecting them from the intense cold. Hunger drives them forward through the snow, kilometre after kilometre, with unmatched endurance. Wolves do not rely only on speed. They rely on patience, teamwork, and the slow exhaustion of their prey. In winter, even the strongest animals can become vulnerable. Far away, across the tundra, another hunter is listening. The Arctic fox trots lightly over the snow, its white fur blending perfectly with the frozen landscape. To survive the harshest season on Earth, it has developed an extraordinary ability. Beneath the snow lies a hidden world of tunnels where small rodents move unseen. The fox pauses, head tilted, ears alert to the faintest sound beneath the surface. Then, in a sudden burst of movement, it leaps high into the air and dives headfirst into the snow. If the attack is successful, the fox gains a small but vital meal, one that can mean the difference between life and starvation. Above this frozen world, silent wings cut through the icy air. The snowy owl glides over the tundra, scanning the landscape with piercing golden eyes, perfectly adapted to the Arctic cold. This powerful bird of prey hunts in near-complete silence, its feathers designed to muffle even the faintest whisper of flight. From the ground, the tundra appears empty, but to the owl, it is full of movement. And deeper within the forests, an even more elusive predator stalks through the shadows. The Eurasian lynx moves with ghost-like precision across the snow, its enormous paws distributing its weight like natural snowshoes. Every step is slow, deliberate, and silent. Somewhere far to the east, in the dense forests of the Russian Far East, the ultimate predator of this frozen wilderness still walks. The Siberian tiger. Powerful, solitary, and rarely seen, this enormous feline patrols territories spanning hundreds of square kilometers. In winter, its thick fur protects it from the brutal cold, allowing it to hunt animals much larger than itself. Across the tundra, vast herds of reindeer continue their ancient migrations, searching for patches of lichen buried beneath the snow. Their journey stretches for hundreds of kilometers, guided by instincts older than the ice itself. In this unforgiving world, survival is never guaranteed. Every movement carries risk. Every hunt is a gamble. Because, in Russia's frozen wilderness, winter is not simply a season. It is the ultimate test of life itself. To understand the cruelty of winter in Russia, one must first understand the astonishing scale of the land itself. Russia is not simply a country. It is a wilderness the size of a continent, stretching across nearly half of the northern hemisphere. From the forests of Eastern Europe to the frozen shores of the Pacific Ocean, this immense nation spans more than 11 time zones, a distance so vast that sunrise can occur thousands of kilometers away from places still trapped in midnight darkness. At the heart of this frozen world lies Siberia. Covering approximately 13 million square kilometers, Siberia is one of the largest and most remote regions on Earth. It is a land defined by extremes, Vast plains, endless forests, towering mountains, and winters that can last more than half the year. When winter arrives here, it does not enter quietly. It spreads across the land like a slowly advancing empire of ice. Masses of cold air descend from the Arctic, spreading southward across the continent. With no nearby oceans to moderate the temperature, the land loses heat rapidly, allowing the cold to intensify to extraordinary levels. Night after night, the ground releases its heat into the clear sky, and the air grows even colder. Soon, rivers begin to freeze, first along their edges, where fragile sheets of ice form and drift silently downstream. Then, as temperatures continue to fall, the rivers surrender completely, transforming into solid highways of ice that stretch for hundreds of kilometers. Across Siberia, lakes follow the same fate. Their surfaces harden into glass-like plains, thick enough to support vehicles, animals, and entire migrating herds. Beneath the ice, dark water moves slowly in a world sealed away from the frozen air above. But perhaps the most defining feature of this region lies hidden beneath the snow. Permafrost. Across vast portions of Siberia and the Arctic North, the ground remains permanently frozen, sometimes to depths of hundreds of meters. Even in summer, only the thin upper layer briefly thaws. Beneath lies soil that has not melted for thousands of years, a frozen archive of ancient ecosystems trapped in ice. Above this frozen foundation rises one of the most important ecosystems on the planet, the taiga. Stretching across northern Russia like an endless green belt, the taiga is the largest forest biome on Earth. Immense expanses of spruce, pine, fir, and larch dominate the landscape, forming forests so vast they can be clearly seen from space. In winter, these forests transform into silent cathedrals of snow, their branches bowed under thick white layers that muffle nearly all sound. Beyond the forests, the land gradually changes once more. Trees grow smaller, the soil becomes thinner. Eventually, the forests give way to the Arctic tundra, a vast treeless plain where only hardy grasses, mosses, and lichens can survive the extreme cold. Here, the wind rules the land. Snow sweeps across the open terrain without obstruction, reshaping the ground into endless shifting patterns. The horizon stretches so far that sky and land seem to merge into a single pale expanse. Yet despite the cold, the darkness, and the vast emptiness, life has not abandoned this frozen continent. Within these icy lands, survival has shaped creatures into true masters of the cold. Winter in Siberia is not simply cold. It is the result of powerful atmospheric forces, immense geography, and long cosmic rhythms combining to create one of the harshest climates on Earth. The story begins far to the north. Above the Arctic Ocean, an immense reservoir of frigid air forms, known as a polar air mass. In winter, when sunlight barely touches the polar regions, temperatures there drop dramatically. This dense, icy air begins to move southward, flowing across the open lands of northern Asia like an invisible tide of ice. And Siberia offers almost nothing to stop it. Unlike many parts of the world, Siberia lies deep within a vast continent. There are no nearby oceans to moderate the climate, no warm currents to soften the cold. Scientists call this a continental climate, where temperatures swing violently between the heat of summer and the extremes of winter. When winter arrives, the land rapidly loses its heat. Night after night, heat radiates from the ground into the clear sky. With little cloud cover to trap warmth, temperatures drop further and further, sometimes falling below -50 degrees Celsius. In certain valleys, cold air sinks and becomes trapped, creating what meteorologists call temperature inversions, layers of frigid air that settle near the ground like invisible lakes of cold. The sun offers little relief. During the long Siberian winter, daylight becomes scarce. In northern regions near the Arctic Circle, the sun may remain barely above the horizon for only a few hours each day. Its pale light casts long shadows across the snow but provides almost no warmth. Under these conditions, the cold begins to reshape the physical world itself. Moisture in the air freezes instantly into delicate ice crystals, drifting slowly through the atmosphere like tiny diamonds. These crystals capture the weak sunlight and create glowing halos and shimmering clouds of frost that float among the forests. Even breathing becomes a visible act. Each exhalation produces a burst of vapor that crystallizes within seconds, forming tiny frozen particles that vanish into the air. Eyelashes accumulate frost, hair becomes stiff. The air itself feels sharp and dry inside the lungs. Materials that normally function elsewhere begin to behave differently at these temperatures. Metal becomes brittle, losing its flexibility as the cold tightens the bonds between its atoms. Machinery struggles to operate, rubber hardens, fuels thicken like syrup. In extreme cold, even simple movements require more effort as the environment resists motion. Water, too, yields to relentless freezing. Rivers that once flowed through the forests slow, stiffen, and eventually solidify. Layer upon layer of ice forms on their surfaces, growing thicker as the weeks pass. In some regions, the ice reaches more than a meter in depth, sealing the flowing water beneath a solid white highway that stretches for hundreds of kilometers. Lakes transform into vast frozen mirrors, reflecting the pale winter sky. Beneath the ice, life continues quietly, protected from the brutal cold above. On the surface, however, the world belongs to the storm. Snowstorms sweep across the tundra and forests, driven by powerful winds that can lift entire curtains of snow into the air. Visibility disappears. The landscape dissolves into a white whirl where sky and earth become indistinguishable. In this frozen laboratory of nature, the laws of survival are written in ice. And every creature that remains here must obey them. Beyond the frozen rivers and the wind-swept tundra lies a kingdom of trees. It stretches across northern Russia in a vast and unbroken belt of forest, so immense that it can be seen from space. This is the taiga, the largest forest biome on Earth. From Scandinavia across Siberia to the Pacific Ocean, the taiga forms a green crown around the northern hemisphere. In Russia alone, it covers millions of square kilometers, an ocean of trees rooted in frozen ground, enduring winters that can last more than 6 months. During the summer, this forest hums with life, but winter transforms it. Snow accumulates silently on every branch. The needles of firs and pines bend under thick white blankets, turning the forest into a maze of frost-covered towers. From above, aerial views reveal endless waves of dark green trees, dusted with silver, stretching to the horizon in every direction. The trees of the taiga are survival specialists. Most are spruces, pines, firs, and larches, species uniquely adapted to withstand brutal cold. Their needle-shaped leaves minimize water loss and resist freezing damage. Their macrutical shapes allow snow to slide off, instead of accumulating and breaking their branches. Even the ground beneath them is trapped in ice. Roots cling to the thin, active layer above the permafrost, extracting nutrients from soil that remains frozen most of the year. Growth here is slow. Some of these trees take decades to reach heights that southern forests achieve in just a few years. Yet, despite the cold and scarcity, the taiga is far from empty. Among the silent trunks move some of the most resilient animals on the planet. The largest of all is the moose, an imposing giant of the northern forests. Standing over 2 meters tall at the shoulder, this enormous herbivore moves slowly through the snow, its long legs perfectly adapted to cross deep drifts. In winter, when grasses disappear beneath the snow, the moose survives by feeding on woody branches, bark, and the shoots of young trees. But even giants must remain alert. Somewhere within the forest, a pack of wolves may be watching. Grey wolves roam the taiga in small coordinated groups, capable of travelling dozens of kilometers in a single day. Their thick winter coats protect them from the cold as they patrol vast territories in search of prey. When the opportunity arises, the pack works together with remarkable precision, targeting animals weakened by deep snow and winter hunger. Higher up, among the branches, another hunter waits in silence. Owls perch motionless among frost-covered branches, their feathers blending perfectly with the snowy forest. With extraordinary hearing, they can detect the faint movements of small animals hidden beneath layers of snow. And then there are the ghosts of the forest. The Eurasian lynx moves with an almost supernatural silence, walking lightly over the snow on wide, fur-covered paws. Every movement is calculated. Every pause is deliberate. Smaller predators also share this forest. The agile marten, a slender and curious hunter, slips between branches and fallen trunks, searching for rodents, birds, and anything else it can catch during the long winter months. Each of these creatures plays a role in the delicate balance of the taiga. Here, survival depends not only on dominance, but on patience, adaptation, and the ability to endure a season that shows no mercy. Within this frozen forest, life persists, quietly, carefully, and against incredible odds. On the surface, winter seems absolute. Snow covers the forests and tundra in thick white layers. Temperatures drop far below freezing. Winds sweep across the landscape, stripping heat and life from anything left exposed to the air. Yet beneath this frozen surface lies a hidden world. There exists a narrow space between the ground and the lower layers of snow, a secret environment that scientists call the subnivean zone. The word comes from Latin, sub, meaning under, and niveus, meaning snow. It is, quite literally, the world beneath the snow. When snow first settles on the ground, it traps pockets of air between its delicate crystals. As more snow accumulates, these pockets form an insulating barrier that separates the frozen surface from the ground below. While the air above the snow can drop to minus 40 degrees Celsius or lower, temperatures within the subnivean zone remain surprisingly stable, often just below freezing. For small animals, this thin layer of insulation means survival. Hidden beneath the snow, tiny creatures dig networks of tunnels and chambers that protect them from the worst of the winter cold. Voles and mice run through this hidden maze, feeding on grasses, seeds, and bark that remain accessible near the ground. From above, the landscape appears silent and untouched. But beneath the snow, life is in constant motion. Voles move through narrow passageways no wider than a finger, creating intricate highways that connect feeding areas with protected nests. Here, insulated from the wind and predators, they conserve valuable energy while waiting for the return of spring. Yet even this hidden refuge is not completely safe. Some predators have developed remarkable abilities to hunt within this invisible world. The slender weasel is one of them. Small enough to enter the tunnels themselves, weasels slip into the subnivean network like living shadows. Their long, flexible bodies allow them to pursue rodents through the maze of passageways, turning the vole's refuge into a deadly trap. But danger also comes from above. Across the snowy surface, a fox moves slowly, stopping every few steps. Its ears turn carefully, attuned to the faint scratching sounds beneath the snow. Far below the surface, a vole moves through its tunnel, unaware that it has been detected. In an instant, the fox leaps high into the air. With remarkable precision, it dives headfirst into the snow, breaking through the surface and plunging directly into the hidden tunnel below. If the attack is successful, the fox emerges with its small prey firmly held in its jaws. Above this frozen landscape, silent wings glide through the pale winter sky. Owls patrol the tundra and forests with extraordinary hearing, capable of detecting the tiny movements of rodents beneath layers of snow. Even through the insulating blanket of winter, they can locate the exact position of their prey before striking with deadly precision. Thus, beneath the silent surface of the snow, a miniature drama unfolds. Predators and prey move through a hidden battlefield, where survival depends on speed, stealth, and luck. Because even in the deepest winter, life finds a way to endure. And in this frozen wilderness, the smallest creatures often fight the hardest battles of all. Beyond this secret world beneath the snow live the true giants of the northern wilderness, the great survivors of the Russian winter. Deep within the forests of eastern Russia, where the taiga grows dense and snow falls thick upon the ground, moves one of the most powerful predators on Earth. It rarely reveals itself. For days, even weeks, the forest may show no sign of its presence. Only the occasional imprint of enormous tracks pressed into fresh snow hints that somewhere nearby, a supreme hunter is patrolling its silent domain. This is the Siberian taiga, the largest subspecies of taiga in the world. Also known as the Amur taiga, this magnificent predator can weigh more than 300 kilograms and measure over 3 meters from nose to tail. Yet despite its immense size, the Siberian taiga is remarkably elusive. It moves through the frozen forests like a ghost, leaving little trace behind. Survival in the Russian winter demands special adaptations, and the Siberian taiga possesses them in abundance. Unlike its tropical relatives, this taiga is built for the cold. Its fur grows thick and dense during winter, forming a powerful barrier against freezing temperatures. Beneath the fur lies a layer of fat that provides additional insulation, allowing the taiga to roam comfortably through forests where temperatures can fall far below freezing. Even its appearance changes slightly in winter. The coat becomes paler, its orange tones softened by the long guard hairs that help trap heat close to the body. Against the snowy forests of the taiga's striped pattern breaks up its silhouette, turning the massive predator into a surprisingly effective master of camouflage. But strength alone does not guarantee survival. In winter, prey becomes scarce. The taiga must hunt carefully, conserving energy as it roams vast territories that can extend over more than 1,000 square kilometers. Most of its prey are large herbivores that inhabit the same forests. Red deer, wild boar, and moose form the core of the taiga's winter diet. Each of these animals is powerful in its own right, capable of defending itself with sharp hooves, antlers, or tusks. A careless attack could leave the tiger injured, a result that in winter often means death. So the tiger relies on patience. Moving silently through the forest, it follows tracks marked in the snow, reading the landscape like a living map. Every broken branch, every scent carried by the cold air tells a story. Slowly, methodically, the tiger closes the distance between itself and its prey. Sometimes the stalk lasts for hours. The tiger lowers its massive body close to the ground, placing each paw with extraordinary precision to avoid making noise in the snow. Its golden eyes remain fixed on the distant animal ahead, waiting for the perfect moment. When the attack finally comes, it is sudden and explosive. The tiger lunges forward in a burst of muscle and power, covering the final distance in seconds. With jaws strong enough to crush bone, it aims for the neck, delivering a fatal bite that quickly ends the struggle. A successful hunt provides food for several days, an essential advantage in a landscape where every calorie counts. And then, once again, the tiger disappears, silent, invisible, a ghost moving through the frozen forests, perfectly adapted to survive one of the harshest winters on Earth. Across the frozen forests of Russia, another predator moves through the snow. Unlike the solitary tiger, this hunter rarely moves alone. A line of tracks crosses the white landscape, stretching between the trees like a silent path. One set follows another, each step placed almost perfectly within the track ahead. To an untrained eye, it might appear to be the path of a single animal, but it is not. It is the work of a pack. The grey wolf is one of the most adaptable predators on Earth, and in the brutal winters of the Russian taiga, its greatest advantage is cooperation. A pack of wolves is not simply a group of animals hunting together. It is a highly organized family unit, often composed of the parents and their offspring from previous years. Each member plays a role, and their survival depends as much on coordination as on strength. Winter pushes these hunters to their limits. Prey becomes scarce, and the energy required to move through deep snow is immense. For large herbivores like moose and deer, each step through the drifts consumes precious calories. Over time, the snow itself becomes an ally to the wolves. They are built for endurance. Long legs and wide paws allow wolves to move efficiently across frozen terrain. Their thick winter coats trap layers of insulating air, protecting them from the intense cold. A pack can travel dozens of kilometers in a single night, tirelessly searching for signs of weakness in the herds that share their forest. Eventually, opportunity appears. Perhaps a moose separated from the group, a deer slowed by exhaustion, or a young animal struggling to move through the heavy snow. The hunt begins in silence. Wolves rarely charge immediately. Instead, they test their prey, moving cautiously around it, searching for vulnerability. One wolf approaches from the front, while others circle behind, forcing the animal to turn again and again as it tries to defend itself. This constant pressure drains energy. Deep snow makes escape difficult, and over time the prey begins to tire. Wolves maintain patience, forcing the animal to keep moving, waiting for the moment when fatigue overcomes strength. Then, the pack springs into action. Several wolves surge forward at the same time, biting the legs and flanks of the struggling animal. Each attack weakens the prey further until it finally collapses into the snow. Within moments, the hunt is over. For the wolves, success means survival. A single moose can feed an entire pack for days, providing the energy needed to endure the long winter nights. But the feast rarely lasts long. Ravens, foxes, and other scavengers quickly arrive, drawn by the scent of fresh meat drifting through the forest air. In the frozen wilderness, nothing is wasted. And once the meal is finished, the wolves continue their journey, moving once again through the silent forest, bound by instinct, cooperation, and the endless pursuit of the next hunt. Far beyond the shelter of the dense taiga forests, where trees grow sparse and the tundra stretches toward the Arctic horizon, a smaller predator thrives in conditions that defeat most animals. Here, the wind almost never stops. Snow drifts endlessly across the open plains, and temperatures drop to levels capable of freezing exposed skin within minutes. Yet in this seemingly hostile world lives one of nature's most remarkable winter specialists. At first glance, it may appear fragile compared to the powerful predators of the forest. Smaller than a wolf and lighter than most hunting dogs, the Arctic fox weighs only a few kilograms. But within that compact body lies an extraordinary collection of adaptations perfectly designed for survival in extreme cold. Its most important defense against the Arctic winter is its fur. The Arctic fox possesses one of the warmest coats in the animal kingdom. Thick layers of insulating fur cover nearly every part of its body, including the soles of its feet. This natural insulation traps heat close to the skin, allowing the fox to remain active even when temperatures drop far below -40 degrees Celsius. During autumn, another transformation begins. The fox's coat gradually changes color, shifting from the darker browns and grays of summer to a bright white that reflects the snow-covered tundra. By the time winter arrives, the fox becomes almost invisible against the frozen landscape. Camouflage is essential in a world where both predators and prey must remain hidden. Moving lightly across the snow, the Arctic fox searches for food in an environment where every meal matters. Unlike larger predators that rely on powerful attacks, the fox survives through versatility. It hunts small animals, scavenges carcasses left by wolves or bears, and sometimes even follows migrating herds in search of opportunity. But its most impressive hunting ability lies in its hearing. Beneath the snow-covered tundra exists the hidden world of the Subnivean zone, a network of tunnels used by small rodents such as voles and lemmings. Although these animals remain invisible under the snow, their tiny movements produce faint sounds that the Arctic fox can detect with astonishing precision. The fox stops. Its ears rotate slightly, focusing on a barely audible rustle beneath the surface. Below the snow, a vole moves through its narrow tunnel, unaware that it has been located. Suddenly, the fox leaps. Launching high into the air, it arches its body and dives headfirst into the snow. The impact sends a cloud of powder into the wind as the fox breaks through toward the hidden tunnel below. If the attack is successful, the fox emerges seconds later, with its prize held between its jaws. Each successful hunt provides just enough energy to keep moving across the frozen tundra. Because in this unforgiving world, survival does not belong to the largest predator, but to the one most perfectly adapted to winter itself. And few creatures embody that mastery better than the Arctic fox. In the snow-laden forests of Russia, a shadow moves silently among the trees. Its presence is almost imperceptible, a ghost gliding through the white silence. This is the Eurasian lynx, one of the most elusive and efficient hunters of the taiga. Smaller than the tiger, but no less lethal, the lynx is perfectly designed for life in winter. Its body is compact yet muscular, built for sudden bursts of strength, while its legs are long and powerful, allowing it to leap through deep snow with remarkable ease. Each large paw spreads widely, acting like a natural snowshoe, distributing its weight to prevent sinking, a critical advantage when stalking prey across drifts that can reach knee-height or more. The lynx relies above all on stealth. Unlike wolves, which can exhaust their prey over distance, or foxes, which hunt smaller rodents, the lynx targets medium-sized herbivores such as hares and young deer. To succeed, it must remain invisible. Its tawny coat, covered in subtle spots, blends perfectly with the uneven light and shadow of the forest floor, blurring its outline even when the sun shines on the snow. The hunt begins with careful observation. The lynx pauses on a snow-covered log or rock, ears twitching and eyes scanning for movement. A rustle in the undergrowth, the faint imprint of hair tracks in fresh snow, or a flicker of motion triggers the predator's focus. It moves with almost imperceptible grace, placing each paw deliberately, minimizing noise and using every tree, mound and shadow to conceal its approach. Once within striking distance, the lynx transforms from cautious stalker into explosive predator. Muscles tense, legs extend, and it launches forward with incredible speed, covering several meters in a single leap. Its sharp claws grip the snow for traction, while its powerful jaws aim for the neck, delivering a swift and precise kill. In the frozen wilderness, hesitation can be fatal, but the lynx strikes with lethal efficiency. The winter environment itself aids the lynx's hunting strategy. Deep snow slows the prey, making escape more difficult, while the silent, muffled forest allows the lynx to move almost undetected. Even the stillness of falling snow plays a role, providing cover as it settles onto the forest floor. However, survival is more than hunting. The lynx must conserve energy during long periods when prey is scarce. It rests in hidden dens or among dense undergrowth, minimizing movement and heat loss. Every action is a careful balance between effort and reward, dictated by the relentless demands of the Siberian winter. Over centuries, evolution has refined the Eurasian lynx into a master of stealth and endurance, a silent hunter perfectly adapted to its environment. Its success is a testament to the cunning and patience required to thrive in the frozen forests of Russia. In these snow-covered forests, the lynx reigns unseen, a reminder that in the winter wilderness, survival does not belong to the loudest or the largest, but to those who move with the silent and calculated precision of a true predator. Across the endless expanse of the Arctic tundra, a slow and steady rhythm moves through the snow. Thousands of hooves strike the frozen ground in unison, carving deep tracks into the white landscape. This is the migration of reindeer, one of the longest and most arduous journeys on Earth. In the heart of winter, survival demands movement. Food is scarce beneath the snow, and only by traveling vast distances can reindeer find enough sustenance to endure the season. Their destination is often lichen, a resilient, frost-tolerant organism that thrives on rocks and beneath the sparse vegetation of the tundra. Lichen provides essential nutrients, carbohydrates, and minerals that sustain the herds through the cold months. A single herd can stretch for kilometers and include thousands of individuals. Calves stay close to their mothers, protected by the collective warmth of the group. Older males lead from the front, using experience to navigate the frozen terrain, while sentinels along the edges of the herd remain alert for predators. Wolves and other hunters roam these same plains, constantly seeking an opportunity among the exhausted or separated members. Migration is not a race, but a test of endurance. Each day, the herd advances slowly but without rest, pushing through deep snowdrifts and crossing frozen rivers. Snow piles high, and the wind shapes it into waves and ridges, yet the herd presses on, guided by instinct and memory. Some of these journeys span hundreds of kilometers, linking seasonal grazing grounds with survival. The tundra appears uniformly the same from afar, but beneath the snow lie hidden challenges. Frozen rivers, uneven outcrops, and ice sheets demand careful navigation. Reindeer rely on their keen senses, strong vision, sharp hearing, and a sensitive muzzle capable of detecting lichen buried beneath the snow. They dig through drifts, uncovering this hidden sustenance with remarkable precision. Migration is also a social enterprise. The herd moves with astonishing coordination, each individual maintaining balance and space while following the collective rhythm. The sound of thousands of hooves striking the snow creates a muted thunder, a signal of life and persistence across an apparently empty landscape. Even the youngest calves learn this pattern instinctively, keeping pace with the herd under the watchful care of the adults. Predators add another layer of danger. Grey wolves, skilled hunters of the taiga and tundra, stalk the edges of the migrating herd. The wolves' success depends on patience, strategy, and exploiting weakness among the exhausted. Yet despite these threats, the herd's immense size and cohesion provide safety in numbers. Through this continuous movement, reindeer not only survive, but also sustain the ecosystem. Their migration shapes the tundra itself, distributing nutrients across vast distances and providing prey for predators that depend on the herd's rhythm. In the frozen wilderness of northern Russia, life is a constant balance between endurance and opportunity. The reindeer, tireless traveler of the tundra, embodies this struggle. Facing ice, wind, and scarcity, they continue forward, herds moving like living rivers of hide and muscle across a landscape that would overwhelm any solitary traveler. Their migration is more than a journey. It is survival written on a grand scale, a testament to the endurance, coordination, and resilience that define the great herbivores of the frozen land. Amid the snow-laden forests of Russia, a colossal figure moves with deliberate grace. Its long legs carry it steadily through drifts that would swallow smaller animals, each step leaving deep impressions in the frozen ground. This is the moose, the largest member of the deer family and a true titan of the taiga. Even in the harshest winter, the moose is well equipped to endure the cold. Its massive body, covered in a thick dark brown coat, provides insulation against icy winds. Beneath that fur lies a layer of fat that stores energy during the months when food is scarce. Long, muscular legs, topped with broad hooves, allow it to move through deep snow and icy terrain with surprising efficiency. Winter changes everything about life in the forest, especially the availability of food. Grasses and shrubs disappear beneath the snow, leaving only frozen branches, twigs and shoots as sustenance. The moose, however, can reach high into the forest canopy, stripping bark and twigs from trees that smaller herbivores cannot access. Willows, birches and aspens make up most of its diet during these months, providing essential nutrients that keep the animal alive. Despite its size, survival is never guaranteed. The moose moves slowly through the snow, conserving energy while remaining vigilant. Predators such as wolves prowl the forest, using deep snow and exhaustion to isolate vulnerable individuals. Calves are especially at risk, often relying on their mothers for protection and warmth. Moose have developed strategies to cope with these challenges. They tend to follow trails through the snow, paths formed over decades that reduce energy expenditure. When possible, they travel along frozen rivers and streams, where the snow is shallower and footing is more secure. Group behavior also provides an advantage. Several moose moving together can better detect threats and navigate dangerous terrain. Even feeding is a careful balance. Each bite must provide maximum energy return, as calories are precious in a landscape where winter lasts for months. The moose uses its sensitive lips to strip bark from branches and grind twigs, extracting every last bit of nourishment. Its large size allows it to consume more than smaller herbivores, an advantage that turns the scarcity of winter into a manageable challenge rather than a deadly threat. The presence of the moose also shapes the forest ecosystem. By feeding on young trees and shrubs, it influences plant growth patterns, which in turn affects other species that depend on the same habitat. Snow depth, predator pressure, and food availability create a delicate balance, and the moose navigates it with an instinct refined over generations. In this frozen wilderness, patience and endurance are as crucial as size and strength. The moose embodies both, moving constantly through the taiga, unhurried but always vigilant. Each day is a test, each step a measure of survival. In the Siberian winter, where the cold is absolute and food is scarce, the mighty moose stands as a testament to resilience, an enduring giant that navigates the frozen world with silent strength, proving that survival belongs to those adapted to withstand the harshest of seasons. In the silent expanse of the Russian winter, survival often depends on invisibility. Small herbivores, though defenseless against wolves or lynxes, have developed an extraordinary defense, the ability to disappear into the snow. Among the most notable of these is the snowshoe hare. Each autumn, its rich brown summer coat gradually transforms into a bright white, blending perfectly with the snow-covered forest floor. In winter, the hare seems to vanish completely from sight, a living ghost in the frost-laden wilderness. The change is more than aesthetic, it is essential. In the face of the sharp eyes of predators, camouflage can mean the difference between life and death. While wolves patrol the forest and lynxes stalk silently among snowdrifts, the snowshoe hare relies on stillness and invisibility to survive. Any sudden movement, any mistake, could reveal its presence and trigger a deadly chase. Adaptation extends beyond coat color. Snowshoe hares have wide, fur-covered feet that function as natural snowshoes, distributing their weight over soft snow. This allows them to move quickly without sinking, a critical advantage when fleeing predators or traveling across uneven winter terrain. Their muscles are lean and agile, designed for sudden leaps that can carry the hare dozens of meters in a single bound, evading even the most persistent hunter. Beneath the snow, other small mammals thrive in a secret network of tunnels. Voles, mice and lemmings create elaborate subnivean passageways beneath the insulating blanket of snow, feeding on roots, bark and hidden vegetation. There they are partially protected from the biting winds above, but predators still find ways to reach them. Owls, foxes and weasels have perfected techniques for hunting in this hidden world. From above, owls can hear the faintest movements beneath the snow, striking with pinpoint accuracy. Foxes leap onto mounds of powdery snow, diving headfirst to catch prey hidden in subnivean tunnels. Even within a labyrinth of snow, survival remains a delicate balance between predator and prey. Camouflage is a strategy shared among species. Small rodents, such as lemmings and voles, rely on pale winter coats to blend with the snow, while snowshoe hares benefit from a combination of color, still posture, and rapid escape. Each adaptation is a direct response to the extreme conditions of the Siberian winter, where a single mistake can mean death. Together, these snow specialists form the foundation of the frozen ecosystem. Though tiny and often overlooked, their survival feeds the predators above, maintaining a delicate balance that keeps the wilderness alive through months of darkness and frost. In the Arctic and taiga winter, where the landscape appears austere and lifeless, these small mammals demonstrate that ingenuity and adaptation can rival strength and size. They are the ghosts of the snow, masters of camouflage, and the essential prey upon which the great northern predators depend. Through the snow, through the frost, they endure, a reminder that even the smallest creatures can wield the greatest power when survival demands it. From these humble specialists, the frozen wilderness extends into the skies, where another group of hunters awaits. The birds of the Arctic winter. High above the frozen tundra, Wings cut through the pale winter sky with an almost supernatural silence. The landscape below stretches endlessly, a vast white sea broken only by the dark shadows of distant ridges and rocky outcrops. Here moves one of the Arctic's most iconic hunters, the snowy owl. Unlike forest predators that rely on stealth and cover, the snowy owl dominates the open tundra through a combination of precision, patience, and extraordinary adaptations. Its flight is nearly silent. Its broad, rounded wings allow it to glide effortlessly, muffling the sound of air passing along its feathers. To the prey below, it is a ghost, present yet invisible, its movement undetectable against the whispering wind. The owl's vision is equally remarkable. Its large golden eyes can detect the slightest movement from hundreds of meters above the snow. Beneath the thick white landscape, hidden rodents such as lemmings or voles attempt to move through tunnels in the subnivean zone, unaware of the watchful predator above. The owl's gaze cuts through both distance and camouflage, making it one of the most precise hunters of the Arctic wilderness. Snowy owls are opportunistic yet strategic. They often perch on elevated ground, scanning the open plains for movement, or hover in slow, deliberate flight, letting their sight and patience guide the hunt. Once they locate prey, the owl dives with astonishing speed and precision, talons extended, striking in an almost silent descent that leaves little chance of escape. Despite their mastery of flight and vision, the tundra presents harsh challenges. Winter storms can reduce visibility to nearly nothing, winds can batter even the largest wings, and the frozen ground offers little cover. Yet, the snowy owl endures, using the vastness of its environment both as hunting ground and shield. Its thick plumage insulates it from the penetrating cold, with feathers that even cover its legs and feet to retain heat as it perches on the icy terrain. Reproduction and survival are equally tied to the land. Snowy owls often depend on the cyclical abundance of prey, particularly lemmings, to raise their chicks. In years of scarcity, they may travel hundreds of kilometers to find sufficient food, demonstrating both endurance and an intimate connection with the rhythm of the Arctic ecosystem. Even in flight, their presence is imposing. The great wingspan, pure white plumage, and slow glide give them a spectral quality, as if the tundra itself had sent a guardian to patrol its frozen plains. From above, predator and landscape merge into a single portrait of winter survival, with precision, patience, and adaptation intertwined. The snowy owl exemplifies how life persists in extreme conditions. While smaller creatures scurry beneath the snow or burrow to retain warmth, this silent hunter rules the skies, a testament to evolution's ability to create perfection even for the harshest climates. From the ghostly sweep of the owl above, the frozen wilderness teems with life, an ecosystem sustained by adaptation, resilience, and the delicate balance between predator and prey. The Arctic tundra is harsh, but for the snowy owl it is home, a world perfectly suited to its silent dominance. In the severe white expanses of Siberia, where winter reigns with relentless harshness, the skies are not empty. Against the pale horizon, a pair of dark shapes circle and glide, their black feathers stark against the snow. These are ravens, the intelligent scavengers of the Russian wilderness. Ravens are more than just birds. They are keen observers, opportunists, and survivors, thriving where many other species struggle. In frozen forests and tundra, food is scarce, and the landscape unforgiving, yet ravens have mastered the art of seizing every opportunity. Their intelligence is legendary. Ravens can solve complex problems, remember the locations of hidden food, and even cooperate to access sustenance too difficult to reach alone. In winter, when snow covers the ground and hides life beneath a thick white blanket, this cunning is not optional, it is essential. One of their most notable behaviors is scavenging alongside larger predators. Grey wolves, moving silently through the snow, leave behind the remains of their hunts. Broken carcasses, scraps and leftovers would otherwise go to waste. But for the raven, these are vital sources of energy. Following a wolf pack across forest ground or tundra, ravens watch closely, ready to descend as soon as the hunt ends. This relationship is not one of cooperation, but of adaptation. Ravens have learned to anticipate the behavior of other animals, understanding that survival often depends on precise timing. They can detect weakness in a pack's prey or identify the exact moment when death has occurred. Then, gliding silently through the icy air, they descend to claim their share. Even away from predators, ravens are formidable foragers. They tirelessly search for berries hidden beneath frost, seeds trapped under snow, and carrion left by other animals. They are opportunists in the purest sense, using the landscape and the actions of others to survive the harshest months of the year. In addition to feeding, ravens show remarkable adaptability in movement. They can soar high above the tundra to survey vast areas or navigate narrow forest corridors with agility and precision. Every flight has a purpose, conserving energy while maximizing the chances of finding sustenance in a land where every calorie matters. Ravens are also social creatures. Pairs and small groups communicate constantly through calls, clicks, and body language, coordinating their scavenging and warning each other of danger. This social intelligence, combined with physical adaptability, makes them one of the most resilient species of the frozen north. In a world dominated by extreme cold, deep snow, and relentless scarcity, ravens exemplify ingenuity. They thrive not through brute strength like the tiger or the moose, but through observation, memory, and cunning, turning adversity into opportunity. Across the icy plains and snow-covered forests of Siberia, the black silhouettes of ravens remain a constant presence. They are survivors in the truest sense, a reminder that intelligence, adaptability, and a sense of timing can rival power in the struggle to endure one of the harshest winters on Earth. From the scavengers of the sky to the giants of the forest, life in Russia's frozen wilderness continues. Each species uniquely equipped to endure, hunt, and survive. In the vast white expanse of the Russian winter, visibility is a matter of life and death. Every predator, every prey, faces the same challenge: how to survive in a landscape that removes cover, leaving creatures exposed to the elements and to each other. For many animals, nature has provided a solution: winter camouflage. Through millennia of evolution, certain species have developed the remarkable ability to change their appearance with the seasons, blending seamlessly with snow and ice to avoid detection. The Arctic fox is perhaps the most famous of these masters. Its summer coat is a muted brown or grey, perfect for the sparse vegetation of the tundra. But as winter approaches, the coat transforms into a thick white blanket, reflecting the snow-covered ground. This color change is not cosmetic, it is a vital adaptation for survival. Hidden from predators and concealed from prey, the Arctic fox can hunt and move without revealing its presence, turning invisibility into a weapon. Similarly, the snowshoe hare depends on seasonal transformation. In summer, it is a deep brown, blending with forest floors and dry grasses. When the first snows arrive, its coat lightens until it becomes completely white, allowing it to disappear among snow-laden branches and drifts. Every movement is calculated. Even a slight twitch of the ear or flick of the tail could betray its location. Camouflage increases survival by reducing encounters with lynxes, wolves, and other predators, giving the hare a crucial advantage in the winter struggle. Birds also take part in this silent adaptation. The ptarmigan, a small Arctic ground bird, changes its feathers from brown in the warmer months to a pristine white during winter. By burrowing into snowdrifts or remaining motionless among ice-covered rocks, it becomes nearly invisible to both aerial and terrestrial hunters. Their transformation allows them to feed and nest safely, even in extreme cold and with limited cover. These adaptations are not random, they are products of evolution driven by the pressures of survival. In regions where snow dominates the landscape for months, individuals with the ability to blend into their surroundings are far more likely to survive and reproduce. Over generations, natural selection favors these traits, refining color, timing, and even behavior to optimize concealment. Winter camouflage is more than appearance. It interacts with behavior, hunting strategies, and the dynamics between predator and prey. Predators such as the Arctic fox rely on stealth and surprise, aided by their change of coat, while prey like hares and ptarmigans reduce movement and use snow mounds to hide even further from view. In this delicate balance, every detail matters: shadow, dim light, texture, and timing. The result is a landscape where life persists silently, with efficiency and invisibility. Against the stark whiteness of the Siberian tundra and taiga, the masters of winter camouflage move unseen, embodying the deep intelligence of evolution. In the frozen north, survival is a game of perception. The ability to disappear can be as crucial as strength or speed, and through the slow and relentless shaping of natural selection, animals such as the Arctic fox, the snowshoe hare, and the ptarmigan have become ghosts of the snow, perfectly adapted to thrive where winter leaves nothing exposed but the watchful eye of the predator. As winter's dominance intensifies over Russia, the land transforms into a frozen expanse where snow covers forests and tundra alike. For many creatures, survival depends not on endurance, stealth, or camouflage, but on movement. Across the skies, thousands of birds take flight, embarking on seasonal migrations that carry them far from the brutal cold. Migration is an extraordinary strategy, born of necessity. During the frozen months, insects disappear, seeds and berries lie buried beneath the snow, and lakes and rivers become solid sheets of ice. For species that depend on these resources, staying behind would be fatal. Nature's solution is simple, but demanding: move. Birds of the Russian taiga and tundra, including geese, swans, cranes, and songbirds, travel thousands of kilometers south, following the retreat of warmth and the availability of food. The Siberian crane, for example, undertakes one of the most remarkable journeys, flying from its northern breeding grounds to wetlands in China and India. Along the way, these birds cross vast stretches of frozen forest, mountain ranges, and snow-covered plains, relying on innate guidance, landmarks, and even the sun and stars to maintain direction. Migration is not simply about reaching warmer lands. It is about survival. Birds must precisely time their departure. Leaving too early risks encountering severe weather along the route, while departing too late could mean food shortages or inhospitable conditions in breeding areas. Evolution has refined these instincts over millennia, ensuring that each species optimizes both survival and reproductive success. The journey is dangerous. Migratory birds face freezing temperatures, strong winds, predators, and exhaustion. Many travel in flocks, which increases efficiency and safety. Formations such as the V shape of geese reduce energy expenditure, allowing individuals to glide on the updrafts created by the wings of the birds ahead. Communication within the flock ensures cohesion, and experienced adults guide younger birds along centuries-old routes. Not all species travel equally far. Some migrate only a few hundred kilometers, seeking unfrozen rivers or nearby milder lowlands, while others cross continents. Songbirds, such as warblers and thrushes, rely on fast and uninterrupted nighttime flights, resting during the day in sheltered areas. Their endurance is astonishing, sometimes covering hundreds of kilometers in a single night, sustained solely by stored fat reserves. Migration also shapes ecosystems. Birds carry nutrients and disperse seeds to distant lands, connecting regions separated by thousands of kilometers. They leave the frozen and barren Russian winter, only to return in spring when the snow melts and life awakens once again. Through this seasonal exodus, birds turn survival into a matter of timing, endurance, and coordination. Although the Siberian winter appears absolute, migration allows life to continue, connecting the frozen north with distant, warmer habitats. In the frozen wilderness, survival is not only about enduring harsh conditions, but about knowing when to leave, when to move, and how to navigate a world covered in ice. Migration is life's escape from winter, a testament to the resilience, instinct, and determination that define the avian inhabitants of Russia's frozen lands. After months of relentless cold, Russia's frozen wilderness begins to change. Slowly at first, almost imperceptibly, the ice thins and the snow softens. Streams and rivers crack under the weight of melting ice, sending fragments downstream. The tundra and taiga, once muted and still beneath a white blanket, stir with the first whispers of spring. The thaw is both gentle and dramatic. Patches of dark soil appear through the melting snow, warmed by the faint but returning sunlight. The permafrost remains frozen below, but the surface awakens, releasing moisture that feeds the first sprouts of mosses, grasses, and shrubs. For animals that endured the harshest winter, this marks a time of renewal, abundance, and new opportunity. Predators and prey alike respond to the change of season. Wolves, which once hunted sparingly to conserve energy, increase their activity, following the movement of herbivores now freed from deep snow. The Eurasian lynx emerges from hidden dens, stretching its powerful limbs and sharpening its claws in anticipation of renewed hunting. Even the Arctic fox sheds parts of its thick white winter coat, revealing a lighter brown layer beneath, preparing for warmer months and changing hunting strategies. Herbivores feel the change immediately. Moose venture farther from forest edges, browsing on tender shoots and bark exposed by the thaw. Reindeer, returning from long winter migrations, graze on the open tundra where lichens and fresh shoots reappear. Snowshoe hares slowly change their white winter coats to brown and grey, blending with emerging vegetation instead of snow. For them, spring is both food and a signal for reproduction. The cycle of life resuming with urgency. Small mammals and rodents, hidden beneath the snow during winter, venture outside. Voles, mice, and lemmings take advantage of new vegetation, multiplying rapidly to replenish populations lost during the harsh months. Their activity feeds predators at all levels of the ecosystem, creating a chain reaction that spreads across both forests and tundra. Birds also return. Migratory species long absent fill the skies and forests with song. Geese, swans, cranes, and countless smaller birds reclaim breeding grounds, rebuilding nests and raising their young. The air, once silent and still, now vibrates with life, wing beats, songs, and the gentle flow of melting streams. Even insects reappear, buzzing in warm spaces between rocks and plants, pollinating the first flowers and igniting a cascade of ecological interactions. Life, which seems suspended beneath ice and snow, bursts into a crescendo of color, movement, and sound. Spring in Russia's frozen wilderness is a time of rebirth. It is a delicate balance of energy, timing, and instinct, where each species takes advantage of fleeting warmth and abundance to survive, reproduce, and thrive. Predators hunt more intensely, herbivores feed voraciously, and the hidden world beneath the snow rejoices in exposure and growth. The frozen silence of winter is replaced by a symphony of life. In rivers, forests, and open tundra, the return of spring transforms the landscape into a vivid testament to resilience and renewal, a reminder that even the harshest winters cannot halt the enduring rhythm of the natural world. Scattered across the vast and frozen expanse of Siberia are traces of human life, small, resilient communities that have learned to endure alongside one of the harshest winters on Earth. They are places where survival demands adaptation, knowledge, and respect for the land. In the taiga and tundra, villages cling to the banks of rivers and lakes, where water remains accessible even in the depths of winter. Homes are built of wood, insulated with moss, animal skins, and modern materials, although their design often reflects centuries of local tradition. Smoke rises from chimneys, a faint sign of warmth against icy winds, while snow-packed paths connect the dwellings and provide the only routes across the frozen ground. Indigenous communities, such as the Evenki and the Nenets, exemplify a deep understanding of this environment. Their survival does not depend on dominating the wilderness, but on coexistence. They follow the movements of reindeer, read signs in the snow, and interpret subtle changes in wind, ice, and snow patterns. Knowledge of animal behavior, seasonal cycles, and the layout of the land has been passed down through generations, forming a relationship with the wilderness that is both practical and spiritual. Reindeer herding is central to many communities. The herds provide meat, skins, and transportation, sustaining life in regions where agriculture is nearly impossible. Herders move with the animals, crossing frozen rivers and snow-covered forests, ensuring that the herds can access grazing areas and remain safe from predators. This symbiotic relationship exemplifies how humans and wildlife can coexist in extreme environments. One survives by supporting the other, without overexploitation. Fishing and hunting supplement the diet, although they are regulated by a deep knowledge of the ecosystem. Fish are caught in partially frozen rivers or lakes, while hunting focuses on species that can sustain the population without threatening biodiversity. The small-scale trapping of valuable fur-bearing animals, such as sable or marten, provides clothing and income, but is always balanced by conservation practices learned over centuries. Even daily life reflects adaptation to extreme cold. Clothing is worn in layers, made from natural and modern materials to trap heat and maintain mobility. Transportation relies on sleds, snowmobiles, and skis, enabling movement across snow-covered expanses. Community structures, food storage, and heating methods all revolve around mitigating the harsh winter while preserving the land's natural resources. Despite their ingenuity, humans in this frozen wilderness never have complete control. Storms, blizzards, and drops in temperature remind them of nature's power. Success depends on humility and respect, on living within the environment rather than against it. Communities celebrate seasonal cycles, understanding that life here is defined as much by survival as by harmony with the landscape. In these remote corners of Siberia, human existence is a testament to resilience and adaptation. Here, people do not conquer the wilderness, they coexist with it, learning its rhythms, respecting its dangers, and thriving in ways that reflect the strategies of the animals that surround them. In this frozen world, survival belongs to those who balance strength, knowledge, and harmony with the land. Human presence in the Russian winter is rare, but profound. It is a living reminder that even in the harshest climates, life, human and animal alike, can endure when guided by respect, intelligence, and patience. The frozen wilderness of Siberia, long perceived as impermeable to human influence, increasingly shows the effects of modern activity and global climate change. Temperatures across the region are rising faster than the global average, accelerating the thawing of permafrost that has remained frozen for millennia. This thaw alters the very foundation of the ecosystem, destabilizing rivers, forests and wetlands, and releasing trapped greenhouse gases that further amplify warming. Human expansion and resource extraction also leave their mark. Logging and deforestation fragment the taiga, reducing the continuous forests that species such as the Siberian tiger and lynx depend on for hunting and shelter. Roads, settlements, and industrial activity disrupt the migratory routes of herbivores such as reindeer and moose, forcing them into smaller, more vulnerable areas. Even small-scale disturbances, such as hunting, trapping, or unregulated tourism, can create repercussions across the delicate food web, affecting predator-prey relationships and the survival of sensitive species. However, not all human impact is destructive. Conservation efforts offer a more hopeful narrative. Intensive protection and anti-poaching measures have allowed the Siberian tiger population to recover from near extinction, illustrating that targeted human intervention can reverse centuries of damage. Protected reserves, scientific monitoring, and community involvement demonstrate that humans can act as guardians, not only as exploiters, of these fragile environments. The situation remains complex. The interaction between climate change and human activity creates unpredictable challenges. Melting permafrost may alter habitats faster than species can adapt, while the expansion of industrial projects threatens previously untouched areas. At the same time, conservation and sustainable practices show that a careful and informed human presence can support, rather than undermine, ecosystem resilience. The frozen wilderness of Siberia is a living laboratory for understanding the consequences of human influence in extreme environments. It reminds us that even in the most remote regions, ecosystems are fragile, interconnected, and sensitive to change. The balance between development, climate mitigation, and conservation will determine whether these iconic landscapes and the species that inhabit them can endure in the coming decades. In the end, humans are both a threat and a hope. The future of Siberia does not depend on our absence, but on our ability to coexist wisely, respecting the rhythms and limits of the frozen world we have begun to alter. But what do you think? Let us know in the comments section below, and be sure to check out the Wilderness of Israel.